Agents want leads via social media, but Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, while super fun, are really the worst places to get leads. It's a great place for promotions, but for lead generation, YouTube is the place to be. Don't worry if you're not currently a YouTube content creator. Sarah Maslowski is going to show you how to generate leads, how she does it step by step today. Stay tuned. This episode of Keeping It Real is brought to you by Real Geeks. How many homes are you going to sell this year? Do you have the right tools? Is your website turning soft leads into interested buyers? Are you spending money on leads that aren't converting? Well, Real Geeks is your solution. Find out why agents across the country choose Real Geeks as their technology partner. Real Geeks was created by an agent for agents. They pride themselves on delivering a sales and marketing solution so that you can easily generate more business. Their agent websites are fast and built for lead conversion with a smooth search experience for your visitors. Real Geeks also includes an easy-to-use agent CRM. So once a lead signs up on your website, you can track their interest and have great follow-up conversations. Real Geeks is loaded with a ton of marketing tools to nurture your leads and increase brand awareness. Visit realgeeks.com/keepingitrealpod and find out why realtors come to Real Geeks to generate more business. Again, visit realgeeks.com/keepingitrealpod. And now, on to our show. Today's episode is brought to you by Corded.io. Are you looking for agents to join your brokerage or team? Now, as a real estate recruiter, I can tell you the answer is always yes. But most agents aren't looking to move right now. So how do you know who to contact? Well, what if I were to tell you there's a recruiting and retention tool powered by artificial intelligence that shows you exactly which agents in your local market are looking to leave their brokerage right now, and which agents at your own firm are also looking to leave you? Now, I've been recruiting realtors for 15 years and I've hired over 2,000 agents. I can tell you with no exaggeration, this is the tool I've been waiting for. Corded's AI looks for trends across dozens of variables for each agent in your market and shows you which agents they believe are likely to move. Not only does it do that, but Corded's AI went and visited my recruiting website and read everything I offer. So now when I'm recruiting, Corded's AI tells me exactly what to say based on that agent's needs and what my brokerage can offer. It even writes emails for me. I've never seen anything like it, and I use it every single day. Now, if you are looking to grow your brokerage, Corded.io is the best tool out there. Visit Corded.io to schedule a demo. Again, that's Corded.io. And now, onto the show.
Welcome back to Keeping It Real. This is the YouTube Lab. I am Sarah Maslowski, and I've closed over $150 million directly from YouTube with zero paid ads, no cold calling. We've spent the last few episodes talking about how to build a YouTube channel that attracts leads, what to post, what the timeline looks like, how the first phone call usually goes. And today we're going to go a little bit deeper because here's the truth. YouTube is only half of the equation. Getting the lead is one thing, converting that lead into a signed contract without wasting your weekends, burning out your team, or skipping steps that come back to bite you, that requires a system. Today, I'm walking you through my full lead conversion system, from the moment someone reaches out all the way to getting that signed contract. The Zoom consultation, the showing agent model, how to spot a time waster before they eat away your weekend, and why that buyer consult is the most important thing you will ever do. And it's oftentimes the most important part that gets skipped. So let's dig right into it. So when a YouTube lead reaches out to you, there is a fascinating imbalance that takes place in this relationship. They know you. They've spent hours watching you on their TV screen, probably for months, and they know how you talk, what you care about, your neighborhoods that you love, maybe even details that you've shared with them about your family and things like that you've shared on camera. And you know absolutely nothing about them. So a phone call doesn't fix that imbalance. And this is something that I learned the hard way. I would show up to a new construction model home to meet the clients for the very first time and realize I have no clue what they actually look like. So what I figured out is that having a Zoom or a Google Meet really fixes this problem. So the moment that you're both on screen, you become real to each other. You get to put a face to a name. You can read their body language. You can feel whether they're excited or nervous or uncertain. And most important of all, you get to meet them and they get to meet you for the first time as an actual person and not just some personality that they see and not just a voice. So there's really three big advantages that you get from doing these Zoom consults. And there are three reasons that we use the Zoom specifically over the phone call. First is it's going to help you build trust a lot faster. Relocation buyers are making a massive emotional decision. They need to trust you before they'll follow your guidance. And so they've seen your face quite a bit. Now you're actually getting to kind of solidify that relationship with them one-on-one, face-to-face. And that accelerates the trust in a way that the phone call just really cannot happen. Second thing is it really helps filter these leads naturally. So a lead who will not schedule a 45-minute Zoom consult, that is telling you something very important about how serious they are. Serious buyers will make time to show up on a Zoom for you and have that serious conversation. The third thing that you actually get from doing these Zoom meetings is that you have the ability to pull up your screen right there in the conversation and share. So let's say that they like a particular house, you can look at that, or maybe you want to show them examples of what certain price points can get them. You can share a neighborhood map. You can pull up school boundaries. You can walk them through a price range in real time. And that's just something you cannot do on a phone call. It's just one dimensional. That Zoom consult becomes a working session. So another huge benefit and a tool that is super helpful with these Zoom or Google Meet, and that is, and you want to make sure that you're using these, are the AI note takers in every single virtual meeting that you have. You cannot be fully present in a conversation if part of your brain is trying to capture notes at the same time. This was something that I really fell victim to whenever I was doing nothing but phone consults. I was furiously taking notes the entire time. Sometimes I couldn't even read my own handwriting after the fact. But the beauty of virtual meetings is that you have an AI note taker record the entire thing. It's going to spit out a transcript. It's going to pull the key details, and it makes importing everything into your CRM system a dream. And that way you're not having to hand off those notes to someone to manually type them in. It makes it so completely seamless. So you are getting to show up focused on the actual client and talking and asking really good questions. The notes are going to take care of themselves. And so this is a small change that makes a significant quality in your consults that you have and helps you show up as a better agent. So the second thing I want to talk about is how do you spot a time waster before they take up your entire weekend? So here's the hard truth is that not every YouTube lead is a real buyer. I know that's not what you want to hear. You're excited to get those phone calls. You're excited to get those leads. But pretending that every single lead is an actual real lead is going to cost you time that you just simply cannot get back. So the good news is that with the right questions, you can almost always identify a time waster before they've taken up your entire weekend. So here are the red flags that I like to watch for and that I've noticed pop up time and time again in my business working with these clients. First red flag is that they're moving just because. So the buyer who has never been to your area and they can't articulate a clear reason as to why they want to make this move, well, that is someone that you need to look out for. They'll often say things like, we just want to change. We heard it's nice there. We're open to anywhere, really. A motivated, serious buyer is almost always has a true reason for moving. You know, it's whether it be a job, a family, or maybe they're simply seeking a different lifestyle. They need to be able to specifically articulate why they want to make that move. And when someone can't tell you why they want to move to your market specifically, that is a signal that the desire is vague and the commitment is not there. The second thing that I see pop up as a red flag is whenever they refuse to do an exploratory trip. And so this is a non-negotiable in our process. If a buyer has never been to the area, they need to come for an exploratory trip before we start scheduling home tours. And the purpose of this is simple. they need to get familiar with the area. It is one thing seeing towns and you're showing off all the great things on camera. It is completely different when they are in their car and they are driving around on their own, exploring on their own terms. The exploratory trip also gives them the opportunity to narrow down where exactly they want to be. Where do they feel most at home? Oftentimes, these buyers are going to have several areas of interest that they are considering and that kind of fit their criteria. Well, you as an agent don't want to show homes in three different areas. That's just simply way too many choices. You want to get them to narrow it down to one or two areas maximum. That's it. And so, with this, when they come in town for the exploratory trip, we are not showing them homes. We're making sure that they actually like it here. And a buyer who isn't willing to invest a weekend or some time coming to put boots on the ground is almost never a buyer who is serious about making the move. Now, here's a caveat here. If a buyer is making a move for a job, we know there's a job start date and they've accepted that job. Well, obviously, who cares if they like it here? They're moving, they're stuck. So that's the one time where we will not require that exploratory trip beforehand. But if they kind of fall into the category that they're moving because they think they want to live here because of a lifestyle change, those are people that we're really holding firm to making sure that they do this exploratory trip. We also provide a area guide to really help with these exploratory trips. We put together a guide that has some of the most popular neighborhoods in each area, some of our favorite restaurants, parks, area of interest, and that really kind of cuts down our time up front. And so that we're able to kind of easily hand them over this guide with hotel suggestions and things like that. So that really makes it really great. In my experience, people that take the time to do this, it leads to a much, much better home buying experience. And you provide a better level of customer service all the way around when they come in town to do an exploratory trip. So if they're adamant about seeing a home, I will tell them we can, meet at your top two favorite houses and meet in person and see that. But I really put a limit on it. You want to make sure that you're protecting the time. The exploratory trip requirement is a great filter and it's a really good one. All right. The next red flag that I see pop up with leads is that they do not have a very clear motivation. So during the consult, I always like to dig deep into their motivation for moving. And I'm listening carefully to identify any differences between two very different answers. So we really want this to happen. They have urgency, they have a timeline and a reason. That is a great qualified lead. And then you have people who kind of fall into this next category where they're like, would be nice to move maybe someday. If we found the perfect house, we would make the move. Those are two completely different buyers, different motivation. One is actually going to lead to a closing. The other, I don't know. And they require completely different responses from you. And the clear signal of a serious buyer is their willingness to take those next steps. So almost always you're educating them about, okay, do you need to have employment here? Are you actively looking for a job? Do you need to sell your house in order to make this move? What is your plan? Connecting them with a lender to talk about what their financing situation is like. If they're not willing to take the step and talk to a lender, or if they're not willing to meet with an agent in their town to talk about what it would look like to sell their house, doing something that gives them a little bit of buy-in to the process, if they will not complete those steps, that is a huge major red flag. And a buyer who won't take any of those concrete next steps, that they're telling you who they really are. And that's okay. But the right move for that buyer is not spending your entire Saturday with them. It is a nurture campaign. It is staying in touch with them to see if their motivation has changed. It's providing, some info along the way. But again, it is not coming into town, spending an entire Saturday with someone who's just simply hoping to find the perfect house that will cause them to want to make a move. In my experience, those have always turned out to be looky-loo buyers who never work out. And I always end up having a lot of resentment and regret for spending the day with them. So until that motivation gets more serious, I'm staying in touch with them, setting them up on searches, and letting that relationship develop at the pace that they're actually ready for. And so you never know what things may change behind the scenes. Today's maybe someday buyer can actually become next year's like, oh no, we're definitely moving and we want to be there by June. So those are just things that you want to make sure that you are looking out for. Now, the next thing that I want to put on your radar is the problem that YouTube success creates. So, this is going to be a great problem for you to have, but eventually it's going to happen where you are going to have multiple serious relocation buyers in town at the same time. They're all going to want to see homes. And so, if you are a solo agent and you're not part of a team, this is going to break your business. You physically cannot be in two places at one time, and you're going to end up making buyers wait, or you're rushing between showings, or worse, you're telling buyers, hey, don't come into town this weekend. I already have clients and I'm already committed. So that's not anything that we want to do. So the showing agent model solves this problem. And it's something that I would encourage every agent who is serious about YouTube to start thinking about early, because you are going to run into this problem. And here's how it works. So a showing agent is a licensed real estate agent who works with you specifically to open up doors. They are not a full partner on the deal. They are going to be compensated per door and receive a percentage of the commission at closing, which is going to give them buy-in without making them a co-agent on every single transaction. This keeps your cost of sale low. It frees up your time, it buys you leverage, and it gains you a person that is somewhat your partner in the deal and that they want to get these buyers also to the closing table. But it keeps you as the agent of record. You are still the one handling the relationship, the consult, the offer strategy, the negotiations, the contract. All of that is still on you. Your showing agent handles being physically present at the showing of the homes. And so the client always knows who their agent is, and that is you. And so here's how you want to introduce this to your clients. And here's what I have found that works incredibly well, because the language really, really matters. You are not telling clients that they're being handed off to someone else. You are telling them that they're going to have more access to homes when they're in town, not less. And here's roughly how that conversation goes. I introduce it during our buyer consult. And so I say, hey, when you come to town, I want to make sure that you have access to homes the moment you want to see them. I work with an agent partner who I trust completely. And when you're here, it won't always be me opening the door, but you will always have someone available. That way, you're never waiting on me. If I have a family commitment or uh, something prior that's pulling me away, you are always going to have access to the houses that you want to see. I'm still going to be your agent and your main point of contact for everything, the strategy, the offers, the negotiations. But my agent partner makes sure that you can get into the houses at the exact time that you want to see them when you're in town. And so if you set this expectation early in the consult before they ever come into town, they are really well prepared for it and they are very much okay with it. But a client who hears about the showing agent when they're in town and you say, oh, hey, it's not going to be me showing up, it's going to be Joe meeting you there, that is when they're feeling like you've pulled a bait and switch on them. And that's not what we want. So a client who was told about it during the consult, they feel like, this is exactly how it's supposed to go. And what's funny is that whenever I started implementing the showing agent model, I would connect with the clients after the showings and they would just gush about how much they loved the showing agent. And they would ask about the showing agent periodically throughout the transaction. And I would think like, hey, wait a second, like I'm your agent. Shouldn't you be like loving me? But funny. And it just goes to show like what a great team partnership this is and how much the clients actually, really look forward to working with more people than just you in the transaction. So the next thing that I want to stress whenever you're working with YouTube leads is that actual buyer consult. And I'm going to tell you something that I learned the hard way more than once. And, sometimes it takes a few times to land a lesson, but every time I have short circuited the buyer consult and jumped straight into showing homes, those transactions have always gone to hell in a handbasket. And when I look back at the deals that fell apart, the ones that were most painful, the clients who were so frustrating to work with, I can almost always trace it back to the same thing. We skipped the consult or we rushed through it. And so expectations were never set properly. We were building on a foundation of assumptions instead of facts, and that leads to bad transaction. So, a strong buyer consult is going to be very thorough and not just a friendly chat. It is a structured conversation that uncovers everything that you actually need to know about serving that client. And here's what I want to make sure that I cover in these buyer consults. I want to talk about their urgency and timeline. When do they actually need to move? Is there a start date for a new job? Is it a school year they're working around? Or is it open ended? What is their buying ability? Are they pre approved? Have they spoken to a lender? Do they understand what the budget actually gets them? And once they factor in homeowners insurance and property taxes, are they comfortable with that actually monthly payment? Do they need to sell a home first? And if so, where are they at in this process? And by the way, this is a really great opportunity. If they haven't listed their home yet or interviewed agents, you have a fantastic opportunity to connect them with a great agent partner in that area. And that way you can generate a referral fee while building that goodwill with your client. Another thing that you want to make sure that you uncover is their employment situation. I learned this one a little bit through trial and error when working with these clients initially, because it just wasn't a question that was on my radar. But this surprises buyers quite a bit. And many don't realize that they typically need to have employment here and have it established in the new state in order to qualify for a loan. So you're going to have a lot of people that reach out to you that are going to be remote workers, and this isn't going to be an issue at all. But you're going to have some people that are going to be attracted to the area, maybe the lower cost of living, the home affordability, but they're going to be in employment careers like nursing or teaching. And they're thinking like, oh, I'll just find a job when I actually get there. But they want to buy a house. And so we can't, obviously use their income in their old state because that job's going to go away as soon as they move. So surfacing this early really saves everyone from a painful surprise later. And so you really want to make sure that you talk that through quite a bit. So you also want to uncover their lifestyle expectations. What do they want their new town to feel like? Do they want it to be walkable, rural? What stores are they used to visiting? And, is it important for them to be within 15 minutes of a Target because they go there all the time as their main store for shopping? What restaurants do they like? Are schools important to them? HOAs, all of those things. We know how to have a buyer consult, right? But for a lot of people that are unfamiliar with the area, you want to go a little bit deeper into what do they want to experience and what stores and grocery stores are important for them to be close by to. Some buyers want everything. They want the acreage. They want new construction, top school district, and they want the proximity to amenities. And then you find out their budget and it's like, sorry, we can't go back in time 15 years and find that option. So having this conversation in the consult, not in front of a home that they can't afford, is everything. So the consult is where you're building that trust, and that strong buyer consult accomplishes, going beyond just gathering the facts. It really establishes you as the expert, as someone that knows what it's like to handle people that are relocating here. And when you ask those right questions, when you surface things that they hadn't considered on their own, when you tell them something honest that surprises them or bring up, something that they haven't considered before, like the employment situation for loan qualification, you prove that you know what you're doing and that you are someone that handles, people in their situation like this all the time. And that's what makes a client follow your advice when it matters. So YouTube gets them in your door already trusting you, and the buyer consult is where you really earn that deeper level of trust that carries you through the hard parts of the transaction. So let me leave you with this. YouTube does something remarkable. It sends you leads who already trust you, already like you, already believe you know your market. And that is a gift that most lead generation channels will never give you. But the gift only pays off if you have a system that's ready to handle that business. The Zoom consult, the exploratory trip, the showing agent model, the thorough buyer consult. And each of these are steps that I have learned the hard way, because sometimes the hard way is what happens when you skip them and then you realize like, okay, I need to build a system around this. I need to protect my time. I need to make sure that I do the consult every single time. So that is what I want to leave you with today. And if you are just getting started on your YouTube journey, please follow me along on Instagram. You can find me at YouTube with Sarah, that is with an H. You don't want to miss what I'm posting over there. And again, I am Sarah Maslowski. Thank you for being here and for being here on Keeping It Real.